What's good, y'all? Your boy BioSpider 3.0 keeping the action going. This is the concluding part of the Maximum Spider-Man review, alright? So we're going to finish it up. I just wanted to show you guys a few quick poses that this guy can get into because he is actually able to hit quite a few dope poses. Like, they really did max him out as far as the poses go on this guy. And yeah, so we left off last time about to get into the size comparison. So I'm just going to show, like I said, a few quick poses, and then we'll get into the size comparisons and head out. And I'm just going to give you guys my concluding thoughts. Anything else that I don't say in this video will be in the description, so make sure you check the description. In either part one or this, I will have my full breakdown. I'll try to do it in part one. That makes the most sense. But yeah, I'm going to give you my full breakdown, clean figurine scale, all that good stuff in the description of part one of the full review for this guy. So be looking out for that. But yeah, as you can see, he is actually able to hit the Marvel vs. Capcom pose, which is pretty dope. I saw a lot of people, on social media posting him like that. And, after working it, playing around with him and Daredevil last night, I was able to finally get him into this, classic Marvel vs. Capcom pose, which is really, really dope. Very awesome that he's able to pull that off, and it really does look a lot like the game once you get him into that stance. So that is dope. He is capable of doing it. Let me just show you guys, because yeah, this is one of those figures where I did have to like play around with it and just kind of break the joints in. And once I did it, yeah, it honestly made all the difference. Like, I found it a lot easier to get him into certain poses that I wanted. So I'll show you some other, kind of crouching style poses real quick that he's able to hit, because I think that's like a big thing for this guy in particular. Everybody's trying to see just how deep of a crouch pose he can get into and how many ways you can kind of stylize him. And I will tell you right now, there is a lot. There's almost like endless possibilities with this guy as far as like the crouching goes. They did a really good job, Hasbro that is, on the the crouching poses, like just how deep he's able to go. And like I said earlier, it is basically on par, if not better than the Mafex classic Spider-Man as far as like those type of articulation poses go. Now I'm having trouble getting his forearm off of here. Okay, there we go. Sorry, I was a little bit tight there. Let's see if this other one comes off a little easier, hopefully. The forearms can be a little tricky to get off just because they're such small pieces, especially if your hands are like slippery. It gets hard to get a good grip on them, but eventually you should be able to pull them off. There we go. So I have taken off both of the forearms. I'm going to switch out his hands for, actually, wow, I just realized for what I was trying to do, I didn't even need to take off the forearms. I was really just supposed to switch out the hands right now, so let me actually try to put that back in. Okay, there we go. There's one forearm. Let's get the other one on. Try to straighten out his arm first. That'll make it easier. Okay, there we go. Alright, there we go. Alright, so now I got both forearms in. I'm going to swap out the hands for the kind of wall crawling or, yeah, splayed out wall crawling type of hands so that y'all can see him in a deep crouching pose. Alright, here we go. Alright. So yeah, with the legs, it's really just a matter of kind of like playing around with the joints in here, but this is like a really nice joint, the drop down hip situation. And the way they kind of engineered this is that like, you can really like wiggle this. Not only can you get, extra range out of dropping the hips down, but then you can also get more range from, you can really get them twisting in all different directions when you utilize like the thigh swivel and all that, and like really start to like mess with it. You can really get him into like crazy McFarlane style poses. Like, honestly, like you can get his leg like all the way behind his ears or something. Like, let's say he's swinging, right? And these are, again, really good butterfly joints. And then with that hinge, like when you really push it all the way, you can get like those really cross type of body poses like that. So like, let's say you want him swinging You got the arms all the way across the body, and then you can put his foot like way back here or something. Like let's say you have him kind of crouched over or something like that. And this is just quick, so it's not gonna look, the most professional, but you get what I'm, going for here. Like you can get his foot like way behind his ear, way out here when he's swinging, and it looks like really good overall. So yeah, that is pretty cool. Like there's all these types of, contortionist movements that you wouldn't be able to get out of most Spider-Man figures that you can actually achieve with this guy. So it's really nice. And the leg really does like kind of like rotate almost all the way around on that inner joint. So like look at that. You can like really get the leg spinning in all like different directions so that he's able to pull off all kinds of crazy poses. So yeah, I'm gonna show off that crouch pose real quick. Just like the classic crouch, four-point stance. Some crunches, legs in nice and deep. Bend the knees, get the toes kind of on the ground. And then I'm gonna bend them forward and just have the arms coming straight down in front of him. And just kind of get that crouch going. Push the head up. Okay, so let's see. Spread his arms out just a little bit. But yeah, look at that. See? Boom. Nice, deep, classic crouching pose. Very easy to actually pull off, like once you break the joints in, like I said, and like, really start like taking them to the max, like pushing them all the way where you want them to go. It's actually really easy to get him into like this deep 4-point crouching stance. Like you can see his hands and feet are all the way on the ground, and he looks pretty good from the side. From like any side that you look at, it looks very natural. There's not a lot of cut up action going on in the joints. Like everything looks pretty flush and smooth, kind of like the original Toy Biz McFarlane Spider-Man. So that's really good to see that they were able to preserve the sculpt while he does, poses like this. So that's really cool. And then yeah, the nice thing about the hands also is that with there being a hinge in there, you can like really kind of like make these hands, like specifically you say like the wall crawling ones like these, you can really make these go up or down. If you want his hands like touching the ground a little more, you can always like bend them forward a little bit more if you want, so that he's like really touching the ground. I like to have him like a little bit, like that. Try to keep him like mostly level. But yeah, he's able to hit that, that classic crouch pose, and it looks really, really good, honestly. Look at that. Very, very nice crouching pose right there. And like I said, he looks very good from any angle doing it. So yeah, man, you can really pull off all types of poses with this guy. It's like almost unlimited. I'll show you another really cool one. This is one I was able to pull off last night. I've seen, like I said, people on social media doing poses kind of like this. And I really do like this. I was able to get a pretty good shot of him last night with, landing like this in front of Daredevil, while Daredevil had his back to the camera. Really cool action shot, I think. So let's see if I can try to recreate that here real quick. Twist his body a little bit. Have the arm like this. Those elbows out a little bit. Just get him kind of crunching like that. Okay, here we go. Just about got it. A little more tweakage. Okay, yeah, it is a little bit awkward. I'm doing it right now, but you guys get the idea more or less. I'm gonna put him in the frame in just a second here. But yeah, that's basically something like this. This type of landing pose. I know it doesn't look the best from this angle, but I promise you it looks better when you get it from like a lower angle. The way I'm filming this, you know, it is kind of hard to see, but like, you know, you can basically get him like crouching, like doing kind of like a superhero type of landing pose. I had a really good shot. I'll try to post it. I'll post it on, you know, on the channel so that you guys can check it out. But it was like, you know, it was at a much better angle, but you get the idea. Like you can really hit those like low type of poses, you know, spidery poses, which is really dope. So yeah, man, he can hit all types of stuff. This is a really dope figure. I think he is slowly becoming my favorite Spider-Man figure alongside the Toy Biz version. Like this is by far, without a doubt, you know, this is the best Hasbro Spider-Man that's ever come out thus far, and I really don't see them topping this one. And yeah, this is gonna be like that holy grail in a few years that everybody tries to get, and it's gonna be super expensive on the aftermarket, like the original Toy Biz one. So yeah, I would say get one sooner than later if you can. Try to find it for close to 50 bucks, because at the end of the day, I do still feel like this figure is overpriced. I don't think it's worth $50 because, like I said, it is just basically a very, very good Marvel Legends figure. And even though it's able to go up to companies, you know, go toe to toe with companies like Mafex and things like that, some of those import Spider-Mans, it just, you know, the overall quality and some of the QC issues that shouldn't be there for 50 bucks. Like, again, I think, you know, things like the deco on him not lining up in quite a few places. It's not just my copy. Like, I've noticed it on a lot of people's copies. I know he had a QC issue for a lot of people. Like on the head, there was like a seam line kind of just like mushed into the top of his head that, you know, stuck out like a sore thumb. So that was bad. You know, there's just certain things, and like, of course, like this spider thing on the back, come on, for 50 bucks, we should not be having that type of issue, you know? They should have easily painted over that. And there's just certain things that are, certain imperfections about this guy that for 50 bucks, you know, we really shouldn't be getting. But that being said, that doesn't take away from how, you know, amazing of a figure that he is. And I promise you, you know, when you have it in hand, you're gonna have a lot of fun with it, especially like once you get those joints loosened up and like really start posing him around. He is gonna be able to hit a lot of really dope poses, and you're gonna like him a lot. You know, you're probably, if you're a photographer, you're gonna have a field day with this guy because he really is able to hit all types of dope poses. And obviously I would do a better job of, you know, showing you guys that if I had more time, but you know, that's, again, I said I'll post some pictures onto the channel so that you guys can check that out. But yeah, if I was, you know, really trying to show you guys, you know, all the poses this guy could hit, we'd be here for like another hour. So yeah, instead of doing that, I'm just gonna post some pics so that you guys can see it later. But excuse me, let's go ahead and get into size comparisons. All right, so we can call it a day and, you know, get some other stuff that I want to show you guys up on the channel. So let's go ahead and get to that. So I'm just gonna have him standing up in a nice neutral pose for right now. Move this out the way so we can get some good focus on the people that he's gonna be, you know, stacked up against. So let me go ahead and try to get some good focus, make sure the lighting's on him good. Let's zoom in just a bit. I'm sorry, my hand is in the way. Hopefully the lighting's all right. The sun is not really out that much right now. It's out, but it's not. So the lighting is more white than anything, but hopefully he looks pretty good. But anyways, yeah, let's get him up against some people. So we got the Amazing Fantasy Spider-Man from Marvel Legends. And this is another good one. Kind of similar articulation, similar body style, but definitely not exactly the same. Because keep in mind, this is an all new sculpt, so, you know, he's not going to match any other Marvel Legends Spider-Man 100%. because this is again all new sculpt, so things are different. Even though the arms do look kind of similar and stuff, but it is in essence a completely different figure. So keep that in mind. But these two do look really good together. And you can definitely see that the McFarlane version is definitely quite a bit bigger. I saw some comparisons. Basically, this guy is like in between this one and the Renew Your Vows Spider-Man as far as like height goes and build. This one is kind of like in the middle. Like he's bigger than this one, but not bigger than the Renew Your Vows. I honestly really like this size for him. This one is cool because, you know, this is supposed to represent like a very young Peter Parker, like just barely getting his powers and everything. So, you know, and then this, a lot of people say like, oh, you know, this can be kind of like a middle-aged Peter Parker, or not middle-aged, but, you know, like before like full adulthood, maybe when he's like in college or whatever. And then the Renew Your Vows is like, you know, after he's like a full-grown man, and I guess, you know, married to Mary Jane and all that stuff. So yeah, there's your size comparison with those, or with that guy. And then for some more Spider-Man figures, we have the black suit Spidey from the Red Hulk Build-A-Figure wave from back in the day. Let me zoom out just a little more. Okay, and move the camera just a bit this way. And then of course we have the classic Toy Biz McFarlane Spider-Man. Alright, so you can see how those guys stack up, and yeah, I think overall, I think that works really well. They're pretty much the same height, honestly. These two McFarlane Spider-Mans, they basically stack up perfectly, and then this black suit one is just a little bit smaller than each of them. A little bit smaller in build and size, but still, you know, pretty good. I guess you can make it work. So yeah, there you go. Those look pretty good. And then let's get, of course, the Mafex Daredevil. All right, I had him in a fighting stance because I had him posed up like he was fighting Spider-Man earlier in that Marvel vs. Capcom style. But let's go ahead and get him in a more neutral pose for some height comparison. So let's go ahead and straighten this out, get his feet kind of level here. Straighten out the knees and the body. Push this leg up a little bit. Okay, there we go. Straighten him out. Alright, so here is the Mafex Daredevil with Spider-Man, Maximum Spider-Man. Alright, and then on his other side we'll do the retro card Shocker from the animated series. And yeah, I think that looks pretty alright. Him and Daredevil again are like very, very similar in height. Shocker about the same. Yeah, they're all around the same height, so I think that works pretty well. Yeah, I think that looks pretty good. So there you go. Moving these two. For some Mattel comparisons, we have the Mattel Man of Steel Superman, the one that came with the Kryptonian command key. What's up, Soups? And then we got the DC Universe All-Stars Classic New 52 style Batman right here. Alright, and booyah, there you go. Alright, so you can see that. I think that looks alright. Moving these guys out the way, we'll bring in the Marvel Legends retro card Black Cat. Really been wanting to see how she stacks up with him. So yeah, I think that's a pretty decent height right there for Black Cat. Yeah, I think that works pretty well. And then we'll bring in the retro card Peter Parker. I switched out the the Peter head, the one that came with this Maximum Spider-Man. I tried to put it onto the retro card body just to see what it looks like. I mean, honestly, I think it works, you know, aside from the skin tones not matching, but I think like head-wise, I think it works. And especially with like this type of outfit, I feel like it matches, you know, this new head sculpt quite a bit. I feel like that's what he would be wearing with that type of, you know, hairstyle and everything. So yeah, this might be like my Peter Parker Spider-Man combo right here, as far as like, you know, secret identities and display options. But yeah, I think that works pretty well. So there you go. I'll move that out the way. For Mafex, we have the in-game Captain America, Mr. Steve Rogers on this side, and then we have the Mark 50 Iron Man from Infinity War by Mafex. I'm gonna turn Spidey just a little more this way, there we go. And turn Iron Man about right there, and there you go. Bring Cap this way, booyah. All right, so there you go. Yeah, I guess that works pretty well. Iron Man being a little bit taller, I think is appropriate. Cap is like a little bit, yeah, he's a little bit smaller actually than both of these two, but you know, I guess that works out. I mean, typically I would think Spider-Man would be smaller than Captain America, so you know, that might not work so well. But then again, this is a comic version, this is a real life or live action version, so you know, you probably wouldn't be mixing those two anyways, but just in case you were curious, that's how they stack. For a bigger comparison, we have the ZD Toys Thanos, of course. See Spidey against Thanos, and then I'll bring in the 6 Toy Biz Sinister 6-pack Green Goblin, or 5-pack, Sinister 6 5-pack, whatever it was. But yeah, let's bring in the Green Goblin. Hopefully he's able to stand on his own. I've had him on his glider for so long. So let's see how if he's able to stand up right now. Okay, yeah, not too bad. And yeah, his head always seems like it's looking up. I mentioned that in the review, but basically this is how he looks next to the Maximum Spider-Man. And I think these two would look, you know, pretty well, like pretty good together. Like style wise and everything, I feel like this kind of like more grimy, dirty looking Green Goblin would go with this mostly McFarlane looking Spider-Man pretty well. And like the builds with these two, this guy has pretty good articulation for the time too. Remember, like his arms can cross like all the way over the chest and come all the way back because he has those crazy butterfly joints, even though they look really bad from the back when you move his arms, but you know, he's able to get that range. So yeah. But yeah, I think in a display I might have these two fighting each other, so I think that looks pretty cool. So yeah, moving them out the way. Thanos over here. We got to get the GOAT. We got Stan Lee on a Mafex stand, of course, because he's unable to stand on his own, unfortunately. But here is, you know, co-creator Stan Lee, Spider-Man co-creator. And then we have Mr. Jameson, the Marvel Legends Jameson from No Way Home. And straighten them out a little bit. There you go. That's how they stack. And yeah, I think that looks pretty all right. What you guys think? So obviously, you know, both of them are cheating just a little bit. They do have a bit of a height boost because of these stands, but you can kind of guesstimate where they would be at without them. But yeah. Not bad. I like it. Let's move Jameson out the way. Let's bring in the Spectacular Spider-Man. This is the black suit costume, the web version that I reviewed not too long ago. And then we'll bring in the Venom Wave Carnage from Marvel Legends. I do still really love this Carnage figure, and I think he looks really good next to this McFarlane Spider-Man. Kind of like a Bagley style Carnage next to McFarlane Spider-Man. I think that looks pretty good. So I would definitely have those two probably fighting each other, but yeah, I think that looks pretty cool. So very nice. Moving them out the way. Who else we got? For Lightning Collection, we have the custom Wild Force Red Ranger right here. And then for, let's do Black Series, we have the Black Series Count Dooku right here. All right. You can see how those three stack. Count Dooku is the tallest. Christopher Lee was a pretty tall dude, so I think that makes sense. And I think that looks pretty good overall. So there you go. Move these two. Finishing it off, we got the Marvel Legends Peter Parker. I got him with the Spider-Man mask on. This is the 2-pack Peter, and then we have the Mafex Andrew Garfield Amazing Spider-Man. And again, I can't wait until the new version of this guy, 2.0 version, No Way Home, comes out. He's gonna look a lot better. The colors are gonna be a lot more vibrant and just better overall, as well as the Andrew head sculpt. So very excited for that. But yeah, that's how they stack. I think that looks pretty all right. Alrighty then. Getting them out the way. For NECA comparison, we have, of course, Ezio from Assassin's Creed Brotherhood. We have our Odious figure right here from Unparalleled Universe. Shout outs to him for an awesome figure. And there you go. So, yep, Odious is definitely quite a bit bigger height-wise, and same thing with Ezio. Well, Ezio is actually not too much bigger than the Maximum Spider-Man. Yeah, I think Odious is actually just, I didn't realize just how big Odious is, but yeah, he is a little bit taller than Ezio when you count the top of his head and the hood and everything. So yeah, he's a bigger guy. I mean, he's a Yeti, right? So it makes sense. The height difference is there. But yeah, I thought Ezio would actually be a little bit bigger compared to Spider-Man, but you know, there you go. Guess not. So, what else? Finishing it off, SH Figure Arts, and oh no. Okay, yeah, we're good. Here we are with the older 5.5-inch Bandai line of the Lightspeed Rescue Pink Ranger, and then we have the green Ranger Mighty Morphin or Dragon Ranger from the Sentai. And that's how they stack. So some 5.5-inch characters up against your Maximum Spider-Man. That's how they look. Alright, so yeah, that should pretty much do it. I guess our very last one will be the Jazzwares Enforcer from Fortnite. And yeah, there you go. There is the Enforcer with your Maximum Spider-Man. So yeah, guys, that's gonna do it. That's all the size comparisons. Again, I'd love to show you guys more poses, but I can do that easier with, you know, like shorts and post. So I'm gonna be, you know, uploading a ton of shorts of this guy posed up, as well as some pictures that I took. I did go crazy, you know, the last couple weekends with pictures of this guy. I took some more last night. So yeah, I'll be uploading all of that so you guys can check it out. I'm still working on getting up my Instagram page that's gonna be specifically for figure photos. So I'll let you guys know when that is finally up. But in the meantime, be sure to check out, you know, those posts and those shorts. You know, check out any reviews that you might have missed. And yeah, it's been your boy, BioSpider 3.0. Just want to thank all you guys for tuning in and watching, leaving feedback, leaving your thoughts, your comments under the videos. I really do appreciate it. Always love to interact with you guys and talk about that stuff. So any questions or anything that you want to talk to me about down there, please feel free. Don't be shy. And yeah, loving it, man. So I'll update the description with, you know, clean figurine scale and my final thoughts. But overall, yeah, a very solid figure. And do I recommend him? Yes. Is he worth $50? I would still say no. But again, I'll break all of that down, you know, the reasons as to why in the description. So you guys, in case you guys are curious as to why I think that, I'll have all of that down there below. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.